This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm calling the meeting to order at 11:15 p.m. I'll start with the Territorial Management. We respectfully acknowledge the SFSS is located on the traditional and ceded territories of the Coast peoples, including Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, and Katzie nations. Unceded means that these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations, and we are currently situated on occupied territories. So roll call. Please give your name, pronouns, and access needs. And access needs are anything that you need to help you either will prevent you or help you more further engage in the meeting. That could be, environmental, noisy background, or unstable internet, or it could be also requiring somebody, asking somebody to speak up or speak more plainly or more clearly. Okay, I'll start with myself. I'm the acting president and chair of the executive committee. My name is Corbett. Pronouns are he, him, his, and all access needs are met. I'd like to move into VP Events and Student Affairs as vice chair.
Hello, my name is Jess. The pronouns are she, hers, and for my access means I have to leave early today.
Okay. VP External and Community Affairs is Matt. He, him, his on my phone, so we'll be using chat. Okay, thank you, Matt. VP Equity Stability, Marie is not here yet. VP Finance and Services, in chat earlier, Almas Fangura, she/her, VP Finance and Services, all access needs met. Thank you. VP Internal Organizational Development. Also, Matt said as I guess as leave early is his mother's birthday and running around all morning. Okay, and you've been running around all morning. Okay, I'm going to check Pink Chloe to see if she's coming. And finally, VP University and Academic Affairs, Serena, is on a leave of absence. Move into society staff, board organizer.
Hi everyone, this is Ella. Pronouns are she, her, hers, and all of my access needs are met, but I'm going to be working on some other work while this meeting goes, so just give me 2-3 seconds to unmute.
Okay, thank you. Okay, operations organizer.
Hi everyone, my name's Aisha. My pronouns are she, her, hers. My access needs are met.
Thank you. Policy Research and Community Affairs coordinator is not here. Administrative assistant.
Hi, my name is Fanny. Pronouns are she and her, and Wi-Fi is a bit shaky, but otherwise all of my access needs are met.
Thanks. Building manager John Walsh is not on tonight, not on. He's been working evenings this week. And Trish will be student advocacy coordinator. Trish will be joining us a little bit later because I let her know we'll be shifting around the agenda. Okay, moving on to item 4.1, consent agenda. Be resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. There's one item in the consent agenda, 4.1.1, matters rights for the minutes for executive meeting from the special meeting on March 21st and then the other meeting on March 22nd, the regular one. Do I have any objections to these items being in the consent agenda? Seeing none, this passes unanimously, and we move on to number 5, adoption agenda. 5.1, be it resolved to adopt the agenda as presented. I'll move that. Do I have a seconder?
Jess.
Jess, thank you. Discussion. If you'd like to amend the agenda, please put your name in the list. Go ahead, Jess.
I'd like to move, to amend the agenda to move in camera before presentations. And yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Any other agenda amendments? Seeing none, we'll take that amendment. So, sorry, do you want to? So the motion is you'd like to put the move the in-camera items up to before presentations?
yes.
Okay. So Jess moves that motion. Do I have a seconder?
Matt.
Thank you, Matt. You can also put it in chat, Matt, if it's easier for you. Okay, and I don't think there's any discussion on this amendment. Don't see any, so move to a vote. All in favor, seeking unanimous consent. If you'd like to abstain or dissent, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and I'll call on you to record your vote. So that amendment passes, carries unanimously. We'll move now back onto the main motion, which is approving the agenda as amended. Any other? Just one last call for any changes. Seeing none, okay, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, seeking unanimous consent. If you'd like to abstain or dissent, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and I'll call on you to record your vote. Okay, Jess, that's fine. Okay, that passes unanimously as amended. Move on to the next item, which is now moving in camera. I move to be resolved to go in camera for the remainder of the meeting. I'll move that. Do I have a seconder?
Yes. Just second.
Thank you, Jess. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, seeking unanimous consent. If you'd like to abstain or dissent, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and I'll call on you to record your vote. Okay, that carries. We'll now move in camera. I would like to invite Ella and Aisha to join for, I think, at least 2 out of the 4 items. I'll make a background room, and I'll pause the recording to do this while I'm doing this.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, everyone. We're just back. I'm going to move. I'm going to move a motion for us to go ex camera. Do I have a seconder?
Marie.
Thank you, Marie. All in favor, seeking unanimous consent. If you'd like to stay, if you'd like to dissent or abstain, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and I'll call on you to record your vote. That passes unanimously. We are now ex camera. We'll be moving on to our next item. Thank you, Jess, for attending. Next item would be presentation, but Marie, you have a list. You wanted a list, right?
Yes. I'll do it after the presentation, no worries.
Okay. We're just waiting for Trish to come in, so I did ping her, but so we can do that in the meantime.
Okay, cool. I'm just looking at, trying to find my list. Yeah, okay. I'd like to move to amend the agenda with a couple discussion items. The first one being the part of the sub activism project. I'll put that in first. I'm trying to.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Oh,
find.
wait. still have quorum to be able to make this amendment motion, so we're okay for that.
Okay, I think that's about it.
Okay, sure. Okay, so I'll move to amend the agenda to add 3 discussion items: one titled Sub-Activism Project, 2 First Floor Naming Plan, and 3 MGP Policy Overview. Actually, Members Group Policy Overview, yes. Do I have a seconder?
Marie.
Thank you, Marie. Discussion on this amendment to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor seeking unanimous consent. If you'd like to abstain or dissent, please use the right hand feature in Zoom, and I'll call on you to record your vote. Okay, that amendment carries unanimously. We will now move that. That motion carries to amend the agenda. We are now back onto our agenda. So 6.1 presentation, 6.1 accessibility proposal. Just waiting for Trish to attend. If not, we can kind of move on from that, and then we have item 7 is reports from committees, reports from executive committee, and reports from management. Well, reports from executive committee, I think that's just a carryover from a wrong template. So reports from management would be Aisha and Ella, since you're here. Would you be able to kind of give an overview of what you've worked on for the last couple of weeks? Okay. Ella, you're welcome to go first since you had a thumbs up.
Thank you, Corbett. Yeah, so it's been as per usual, a busy couple of weeks for me. I'll keep it brief. My main 3 things of focus have been the orientation, council orientation that will be happening the first week of May. It will span from May 2nd to May 6th, and it will be in the ballroom. So I've been working with a whole bunch of folks to get that organized and underway and get all the materials drafted and figured out. The second main thing that I've been working on is transition. So really making sure that the incoming executives have all of the information. We've been getting news and info from the federal and provincial government about things that are going to be happening in the upcoming year. So making sure that they have all of that transition piece and making sure that the second half of their transition period is successful. And the third main thing is the admin department is going to be going through some changes in the next month. Our admin coordinator is going to be on vacation starting next week, Wednesday, the 13th, and will be on vacation until the 20th of May. So in the interim, one of our admin assistants will be stepping up, which we're all very excited for, and backfilling the position of admin coordinator for that month. And we will also have another person joining our team who's a former building assistant to support the admin department in the transition, as this is kind of happening while the incoming exec is coming in. So we've been laying the groundwork in admin to make sure that the transition is smooth, not only the council transition, but our admin coordinator's transition in and out of vacation is smooth, and that everything is going well. So that has been me.
Hey, I can go. Oh, Corbett, sorry, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry, I was going to say thank you, Ella. Is there any questions from exec for Ella's report? Okay, seeing none. Aisha, please go ahead.
Sweet. Okay, I actually don't have much to update because I was away, but I can just give like a brief overview of what I'm like currently catching up and working on. There are a number of items that are going to be reviewed at a working conditions meeting this Thursday that Corbett and I will be at. So if you have questions on what those are, we can have an in-camera chat, or you can ping me separately and we can chat about it. We've had a number of staff pass their final probationary reviews, which is really exciting. So we have a bunch of permanent staff members now. And in terms of hiring, we have the building coordinator hiring committee underway. That will close on Monday. And we're currently interviewing for the research admin assistant. Yeah, I feel like that's it for me right now.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Ella says the update meeting for orientation is tomorrow. Let me know if you don't have the info for the meeting. Okay, thank you, Ella. And thank you, Aisha. Is there any questions for Aisha? Okay, seeing none, I am
Sorry, Corbett, I can add one more thing, but it's also, I don't think it can be addressed at this meeting, or maybe it's already been addressed without me, or perhaps at a former meeting, but I'd be interested in turning my mind towards my backfill for when I'm away, and like how exec would like me to, sort that out.
Yeah, thank you. I would definitely want to have set some time aside so we can talk about that to figure out some ways, some good practice, some good ideas. And so I'll send you an invite, Aisha.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just checking with Aisha. Sorry, not Aisha. My apologies, Trish. Yeah, there she is. Perfect timing. Okay, we're just going to move back to presentations once Trish is ready.
Hi, y'all. How we doing?
Good.
Good. Having a great day of in-camera meetings, I see.
Always.
Always good. Let me find this thing. Projects. There we go. Thanks for letting me pop into your meeting. Hopefully I won't take too long, but I've sent around a proposal that Brianna and I were working on for quite a while, and we've looped in the other coordinators as well. The long and short of it is the campus community shuttle, we believe could be expanded, and the purpose of that could be broadened to have an accessibility focus to make getting around campus much easier for folks who have mobility challenges and for folks who have small humans that use strollers or anyone who has a wheeled device of any kind. We identified a significant need for the service among students, and in the proposal that was circulated, reviewed a bunch of different options. Those main options are sort of public transit managed services that are based on a bus or shuttle model, a sort of cart type model, which is a modified golf cart kind of situation, which is what UBC uses, a shuttle or a van-based system, or some combination thereof. So varying versions of those are in place at a bunch of different campuses across North America. My undergrad literally used a go-kart. So injured student athletes and injured students would be ferried around campus by student employees on a literal golf cart, which was actually quite fun, but it was a tiny campus and that has obvious liability issues. my master's program at the University of Arizona had a very robust, well-branded shuttle system that was huge and went everywhere and was very, very convenient, but also very necessary because it was the desert and that campus would literally kill you. UBC had nothing until right after I left. And this was a project that I sort of initiated as I was headed out the door when I broke my foot and reached out to equity and diversity and asked, how do injured students get around campus? And they said, we can help you rent a scooter, like a motor chair, which is obviously not a good solution. So they've since then put in this modified golf cart little mini shuttle. Through consultation, Brianna and I sort of met with some folks from DNA, a bunch of other students, and ultimately our proposal suggests that we do a set schedule. So it's sort of constantly looping, much like the existing community shuttle does. And it's on a fixed route. So it's continually going on that same route instead of, going all over the place. That it is open and available to anyone with a disability and is not fee-based. And that any campus community user or human person can use the shuttle to get around campus. We gained some insights from the temporary accessibility shuttle that was put in place when the elevator was under construction at the transportation center. So those comments are included in the briefing note. And there's some additional benefits for injured student athletes, for recruitment purposes, for affinity and loyalty to the university, staff retention, student retention, a public relations boost, things like that. And the route, Brianna and I actually drove it one day, and there is a route that is possible to do a continuous loop instead of the strange route that the current campus community shuttle takes. So the document includes a proposed map with some potential offshoots if they feel like including university or not, including a stop behind the sub. So that's kind of the general proposal, and it includes sort of a good, better, and best for how the university might roll this out. And so now we're at a point where we've got this proposal and it's sort of ready to make actionable, and we are looking for the executive to advise us on how they want to proceed with that. I popped the document in the chat as well in case anyone is missing that. I should have done that sooner, sorry. But if you have any questions, I'm also happy to answer those too.
Thank you. Let's see if I'm not muted. It's good. No, thank you very much. My first thought is going to be more like, where's the money going to come from for all this kind of thing? Is there any kind of way other ways we can potentially support this?
Mm-hmm. So the money issue is significant, but I don't imagine it will be too much more costly than what they're already doing. Basically, we're asking them to continue the campus community shuttle, which is co-funded between SFU and FIC. We're asking them to continue that and just add a couple stops to make it more useful, and perhaps do a bit of advertising and a branding push to sort of give it a bit of an accessibility angle. But fundamentally, it's the same shuttle we've already got, but just making it more useful by adding stops in key locations where students with mobility challenges identified they have trouble getting to.
No, that makes sense. And this is really good, actually. I really do like this.
We came up with basically the easiest, most slam dunk, obvious proposal we could for the university.
Yeah, you got to basically give them their whole plan for them.
Yep,
yeah.
Pretty much. And this won't come as a surprise to them because I've had sort of initial conversations with the guy from Auxiliary Services, Mark McLaughlin, way back in like September or October. And then it was brought up again at the safety conversation that we had last fall. We have another one of those campus safety chats on Thursday morning. So this is timely that we're chatting about it now.
Okay.
So on the list, I see Gabe.
Yep, and then Marie. So go ahead, Gabe.
Thanks. I don't have an opinion to contribute here, but I thought it would be good to note that historically, the SFSS has fought for the community shuttle to continue to exist on Burnaby campus. It was actually, I believe, 2019 or 18 that the SFSS launched a campaign to when the university wanted to cancel the program for it to continue to exist. And it did continue to exist, of course, up until this point. So it does seem very, what's the word? I don't know. It makes sense though that the SFSS hop back on this advocacy and continue to push to support it. I was thinking, there was a word I couldn't put my okay. Anyway, I'll stop talking now. Thank you for letting me speak.
Yeah, this is really great, Trish. Amazing. Like, thanks for doing that. And plus, I think it's just super important with the new building too, that people are able to come here safely. And yeah, we should always just be pushing forth these like important modes of not only safety, but accessibility. Like, you should have a safe arrival. Like, everyone deserves that.
Yeah.
It's really simple. Like, it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
I remember I like heard about this and I heard it was being ended and I was like, what? That's so weird. So I'm happy that you were able to take it up, just because like what Gabe is saying, we should always like continue these things. Yeah, but
My feeling, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no worries. I was gonna say like maybe like what's the next steps or what's the best practice or what are things that we should be doing or that kind of thing.
Yeah, so before I head there, I just want to add my feeling by labeling it with an accessibility lens, it makes it much, much more difficult for the university to defund. It's one thing to take away a shuttle for lazy students that don't want to walk across campus, but it's quite another thing to take away a shuttle that helps people with mobility challenges get around a mountain. So I think by sort of rebranding it and rethinking about its purpose, we also almost safeguard it for the future, because it would be a PR mess if they were to ever defund it in the future once it's sort of seen through this lens.
Well, anyways, also it's like the majority of students who do use those things do have accessibility constraints. Yeah,
totally. So in terms of next steps, my thoughts are to send it to student services, the VP sort of circle. I can also bring it up when CUPE meets with Joy Johnson and Martin Krushenko, when we meet from a worker's perspective as a tool that will help workers safely navigate campus. So I feel like a multi-pronged approach where it's an SFSS issue, but it's also a workers issue. And we just start to sort of gather our allies and create a big collective push. Makes it harder to deny something like this. But I didn't want to go rogue and start doing all of this without exec being on board and being in support. So.
No, I definitely support this. Make the uni pay for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was saying I support and make the uni pay for it because honestly, this is their responsibility. Seriously, the fact that we've done the work and bringing it forward to them is really impactful. Like, sorry, we did the work. Please just pay for it.
Mhm.
This has to do with like so many other things when it comes to study space, when it comes to like all these other things. Like this is a big one. Like students, especially since like they literally had it operating already.
Yeah.
So really ensuring that there's a push for that. And Trish, if you need to be accompanied, let me and Serena know.
Sure. Yeah. The biggest source of pushback I foresee, aside from funding, which is the obvious part with SFU, is there's just one part of the route that is a little bit funky that goes up a sort of driveway behind a building. And it's one of the sort of maintenance shop type buildings. And I imagine it doesn't get a lot of traffic through there. So having a shuttle go through it multiple times a day may ruffle some feathers. And I imagine that could be a point of resistance, but it is literally the only route that works. So that'll be something that SFU is going to have to sort out. Otherwise, it's a very awkward, nonsensical route. But that's the key point of resistance that I foresee is cost and that one little like 20-foot piece of the route. So.
Okay.
Cool. So moving forward, if we have exec endorsement, I don't know if y'all want to vote or anything or just give me the green light. I'm happy to just run with it if you want one less thing on your plate, because I know you have a big full plate, and I'll keep you posted on how things are going and if statements are needed or if, support is needed for y'all to speak at something.
Sure. Marie, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, usually when we do endorse with this stuff, any updates like have to come to exec for an update. So like anytime you would have an update, Trish, like instead of just like putting it on email, like coming to exec, talking about it, talking about next moves and stuff. In terms of like typically like further action or anything else that will be done in this means, like, yeah, it should be consulted like within the exec meetings, or I would say since it falls under like VPES or university relation portfolios, you can also like consult with those folks.
Mm-hmm. And who are the new folks that are in those roles?
So I could let Ria know about this. I'm sure she would be happy to take it on and help you.
We like Ria. Yes, good. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ria, we know. Good. Cool.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we know Ria. Cool. Good. Lovely, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, update us. Yeah, just update us when you can, because the time, most likely will be, majority is going to be the new the new executive. And I think if they want to, like, especially if you wanted more of a, so any kind of campaign or any kind of conservative advocacy push on their end, that's when you can also come back with a proposal on that aspect. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'll touch bases with them.
Cool.
Lovely. All right.
Okay.
Cool, cool.
Thank you very much for coming and presenting.
Thanks, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to, I'll jump back into our agenda. Discussion items will be item 11, and that's first one is going to be sub-activation project. I'm assuming this is an update, Marie, or a request for update?
Yeah, I was just gonna give an update. So Ooh, okay, I'll probably have to relay this to Matt and Jess, which is no problem. But so regarding the sub-activism projects, I was able to meet with John, and we had a conversation with other organizers who previously were part of these and part of the sub-activism project, and we were kind of just discussing modes forward. So I just wanted to update folks here and kind of get like a thumbs up so we can like finish off these projects. But first and foremost, so we are retrieving back the Freedom Square plaque. Ta-da! La, 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 la. Yes, big claps, because that took me a hot minute. So I reached out to SFU, told them, where's our Freedom Square plaque? Bring it to the sub. Not really, but we had to like fill out basically a form to receive it. And I've been onboarding John, letting him know about the history behind it, all that in general, just so we can move forward. Maybe I'll have John come to like next exec to go through like more details, but we decided and want full consent from the execs first that we're going to retrieve the plaque. Previously, when we found out that like it wasn't in Freedom Square anymore, folks had reached out, I believe Waishan had reached out to the university to kind of just like try to find where it was placed. The university, oh, Gabe did this. We found out that it was placed in some random storage. And Erin had let us know that a different placement that could be possible would be right in front of the student union building. So we discussed this. Yeah, shout out Gabe, my bad. We discussed this with John. And so like, since especially like Erin already said another placement could be in front of the building, we're gonna be placing it over there. And our hope is that it's still going to be movable. So having like it anchored into the ground, just in case if it does need to be moved for whatever reason, like a protest or whatever it is. But that's basically a big step forward. I just wanted to see if folks were like cool with it, like being in front of the sub building. Like, is that seem like a good placement? Yeah, I'm seeing thumbs up, seeing nods. Okay, great. So that happened. And then we had a further discussion. Previously, we were discussing like where the placement would be. We talked about it possibly being in like the 5th floor, what's the big room called? The ballroom. Just in case, like, it would be really cool if there was like some form of podium or something that's also honoring the Freedom Square plaque. However, like those are kind of like side conversations. I guess the main thing going forward is that like retrieve the Freedom Square plaque, instill it within the front of the student union building, and yeah, that's like the biggest thing. Yeah, so that's the first update, and list if you'd like to comment or say like you like this or whatever. The second update is we were just discussing, so there was actually previous retrieval of like pretty long ago, like around like 1960s, 70s, photos of students who were like rallying, how like their activism was like really a staple part of the university, and we want to honor that history at the SFSS since a lot of it we're really out of tune with. So as you know, like the university has been like a specific grounds for activism. Like we're talking about people like Angela Davis and her mom, like pulling forward activism at this university, like collaborations with Martin Luther King. Like we're not in tune with this enough, and it needs to be displayed. So I believe there was around 11 photos that were retrieved, and in the process, there was a sub-activism project that was initiated in order to display these photos. So I believe when we were talking to John, it seems like we're going to be using one full wall to just put all the photos on it, and then putting the photos around the student union building as well. So the first option was just having it on the one wall. The second option was having it on both, so one wall and throughout the sub. And the good thing is we do have the budget for it, because when we first agreed to have it just be on the one wall and just that thing, we had like we got a good price for it. So it would give us the ability to also do it around the building as well. So I just wanted to list that out, but to say, like, do folks feel like that's a good idea to have it on the one wall altogether and then throughout the building?
So I'll list myself, and yeah, I kind of responded to that email chain, but I haven't followed up on it. I remember because the original purpose was to have it spread out everywhere to kind of show that there's, you know, everywhere, wherever you go in the building, there's going to be some aspect of like some kind of activism history, right? And so I'm in favor of still doing that. But I also understand that there's also ability. Now we have like some spots that were originally planned, like that we usually, for instance, one of the cork boards is now where originally we planned to have a set of pictures. So I'm fine with some level of, like, I'm fine with having some level on one wall, but I don't want that to be the only spot. And if it means we add more stuff to it, like, and also more history of SFSS, like board members, council members, major moments of history, that kind of stuff, just having that spread out, I'm really in favor. I just want it does not to be a one thing only situation. So
I also agree with
I'll be right back. I gotta just run into the washroom, but I'll be.
Yeah, no worries. I also agree with that, like having not just one wall, like specific to one space, but throughout the building too. And like what Corbett was saying, that was one of our issues, is that a previous spot that we had designated to put up one of the activism photos was replaced for one of the boards where we put posters up. So with that in mind, generally we were thinking of doing the one wall all together, and then secondly to put some of the photos around the building as well. But other people, how do you feel about that? I see thumbs up. Okay, cool. Gabe, do you want to speak to this, since you like literally started the conversation with the whole Freedom Square plaque stuff? I mean, if you're there.
I am here, but I missed out on about 3/4 of the conversation.
That's all good. I'm just asking if you want to speak to like the Freedom Square plaque stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's obviously, you know, it's been a long time in the making, and we just spent a long time just trying to figure out where the hell is this plaque. We've had a lot of back and forth about like, okay, where can the plaque go? Why does it need to be removed from where it actually was to begin with, and that is Freedom Square. And I think that, are we still talking about, sorry, the plaque, or are we talking about the activism project, or both?
Both technically, but the first, yeah, speak to the Freedom Square one. You're fine.
Well, anyway, I'm just knowing that they just, you know, they're not going to budge on putting it back in Freedom Square. I am happy to see that we can at least, you know, reclaim that and include it, you know, in and around the Student Union building. And as for the sub-activism project, I mean, I think that spreading out our, you know, the history of radical movements and activism on SFP campus is important. I really like the idea of having like a big ass wall, but as well, in addition to that, spreading it around the building. So I don't think I have anything else to add other than I'm kind of excited to see this move forward, because I know it's been a long time in the making as well. So I'm not sure who in particular kind of has been doing the work on this, but whoever has, Marie, big ups to you for doing that work. And yeah, no, I think it's just important as a student society that we celebrate these histories, because when it comes to the high turnover and the accelerated change that takes place in these settings, And I exaggerate. I do not exaggerate at all when I say like some history gets lost within the span of 1 year. And so you think about all of the movements and the rallies and the whatnots that have occurred over the last, I don't even know how old, in the last 50 years. If we start archiving that, putting it on display and celebrating it, I think that's really important. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Like, my goal is that I want alumni to come to SFU and be like, wow, that's me. Like, that's me on the wall. And for their work to be honored, because it's hard work. And it's well deserved to be displayed and not forgotten, because a lot of times these movements, like, really, it's the reason why a lot of us are here today too. But yeah, thanks for noting that. Makes sense. Also, yeah, you make a good note about, so I heard conversations about why they didn't want to put the Freedom Square plaque back in Freedom Square, and a big part is because they put an engravement on the ground. However, it's upsetting because, and honestly, it's not even the fault of SFU. Like, the SFSS board members did approve it at the time. However, it takes a really vital sentence out of the actual plaque, and that's that faculty, TAs, and students came bounded together to push this forward. Yeah, Gabe.
Yeah, you make an interesting point, Maureen. Actually, a slight tweak to what you said. It actually wasn't board members who approved that. And it was a weakness of the governance structure that we were under at the time, policy governance, whereby we delegated a crap ton of power to an executive director to manage the operations of the society. And actually, it was a sort of an approval, but kind of a miscommunication between board members and the operational side of the society at the time. I believe, if I'm getting my history right, the university had reached out to, I don't remember exactly who, but it was a member of the management team at the SFSS at the time, and it wasn't properly communicated to the board members at the time, which I think also just speaks to the fact to the weaknesses of the structure that we were under at the time, and thankfully moved away from. So yeah, older government, yeah.
That's huge. It's really cool that you note that, because I was actually told otherwise by the university. So, and I fully trust that that's true. And I'm not surprised, because a lot of the activism related photos and stuff were also hid by the management at the time, I believe. Anywho, cool. Okay, so I guess both the Freedom Square and sub-activism stuff, photos-wise, we're generally at a same consensus, so that's good.
Okay, thank you. Next, is there any more on discussion? Any questions? Okay, we'll move on to the next discussion item, which is first floor naming plan. Marie?
Thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to bring this to exec that this is a really big thing. Basically, I have been part of initiating a project called the First Floor Naming Project, whatever you want to call it. But the point is that we want to honor and encompass the fight that students have to put up with in order to actually get space within the student union building. And a lot of people don't even know this history. Like, lots of people go to the first floor and they're like, why are these groups even here? And that's significant. That's an issue. Like, that's an issue on the end of like the SFSS for not properly communicating these things. So in light of that, and in light of redressing the harms and honestly honoring the labor and work that's been put forward, I initiated this project in collaboration with the ISC and the Elders Program to hopefully welcome some elders to the student union building and initiate a conversation between, you know, either previous folks who were involved in the space campaign movement or current folks who are also part of constituency groups to not only talk about the experiences and the storytelling, but to also have like a really impactful like Indigenous and ancestral name to these lands come out of it too. So in that way, like the first floor would be named under that. And there would be a plaque on the first floor kind of encompassing why these groups are even here. So that was my hopes for it. I just really wanted to talk about this with folks to see, one, if anyone would like to help. No, Ella. So the point is that once the constituency groups and other folks communicate with the elders about their experiences, the elders would provide a couple name options in terms of encompassing like a sense of community. But that's the hopes for it. I was just gonna ask if anyone would want to hop on and help, because it's gonna take a while to like prepare it, and I was thinking it'd probably be nice if we had it be like half a day thing, if folks could do that, and then, you know, having food and all of that, so it would be like nicely spent together. But if anyone would like to help, it would be really appreciated. Appreciated. BIPOC committee, some members are also wanting to be part of the process. However, their capacity is really low. My capacity is really low right now too. But I really want to make sure that this happens and it's pushed forward. So if you're happy to like help plan, that would be great, or be present at the meeting, it would be really great. I just need to figure out like a day that works for everyone. And then from that, I would really appreciate it if folks could like drop down some ideas, like what ways do you think that this could be done in like a good way? How should it start? How should we encompass the experience? How do we make folks feel comfortable to share? Those types of things. So I'm gonna be quiet now and listen.
Sharing circle type process. Do they want to be in person, or do you want more virtual, or do you want more writing? Like everyone just writes down a lot of their experiences, or do it be more of a like the sharing circle type thing?
I believe this would be an in-person thing, and hopefully within the sub for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, well, we can definitely set up honorariums pretty easily to respect the elders' times and labor.
I was just
Chloe?
gonna say where, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of something I did in my Indigenous 111 class, of like, it's like research and participatory action research methods. I forget the exact naming, but like we did like we were doing research, like learning how to do research in Indigenous communities, and we did a sharing circle, and we like we all came up with like pre-made questions and like shared it with the group, and so we all attempt to look at the questions. So I think if there's like prompts for like what to talk about, that would be good.
Like a facilitated conversation, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then we also recorded it and transcribed it later, which I think would be good to have like a copy of what was shared, if everyone's okay with that.
That sounds good to me. Like creating some questions and then facilitating a conversation, like having representatives speak to those points. Cool. And I also asked in the chat if like where the honorariums would come from. Corbett just noted like consultation line item. Where would we get funds for like food? Do you know where?
Events line item, events committee line item. We can pull from there. If they have money left over, I'm not sure what that's at. We have to check with Jess and Kurt and others.
Okay, cool.
We check with Matt because I know external had plans. I think for they were going to use. I think Matt had plans for using it up by the end of this term. So just want to see if he's got something earmarked or not. But yeah, food and stuff can probably definitely come from, I think, events line item if there is room there. The honorariums from consultation line item, or even just from the events line item too. It could be all tied in together. It just depends on if we have to depending on how tight money is by now for certain line items. But that can definitely be, is the idea that this would be done before the end of this term, or is this expected to be carried over?
Before the end of this term.
Okay, so then we should get a motion, either email motion or something else done within a week or so at most. Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping for that too. I just wanted to see like if people would be down to help, and then just going forward from there really.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to find, the procedural ways to get this done to support it so it moves forward fast. And I'm happy to attend meetings if people want me, if they feel comfortable with being there.
Maybe just a quick question about like a plaque when it would be made. Would that be coming from what budget was it called? I can't remember. But like where would the funds for that come from? Do you know? Corbett?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Same line items that came for the one on 5th floor, probably, which I think was just building velocity.
That's what I was thinking too.
So I can check with John. I'm assuming I check with Matt and John, I guess, on that. But I'm assuming it came somewhere, either from velocity or came from external. Okay. Is there any more items, any more questions or comments on this discussion? Okay. Last one is member group policy overview.
Yeah, so I submitted this. I was really hoping that we could submit this for tomorrow. This is the member group policy amendment. I'll put it in the chat as well. But we were hoping to update the policy. I was just hoping that folks could just put this on their radar and look over it. the hope was actually that it would be submitted tomorrow for notice of motion. Because we really just don't have to, like, if it's a norm that it needs to wait for 2 weeks before it's voted on, I believe, and I think that would lead us to like basically the last exec meeting, right?
Yeah.
Let me check.
It's 3 weeks away.
Yeah, so that means 1, 2. Basically, yeah, it would lead us to the last meeting if we don't submit it today. No, it's okay, Fanny.
Yeah. I can jump in. My plan was to finish that off tomorrow morning because I just have not had the time. I did a bit. I think I went through about half it last week, and I think I should be able to finish off the remaining half tomorrow morning.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could just make time in your schedule to do that, that would be really great.
Will do.
But yeah. Okay, cool. I guess that's fine then. And I was reaching out to some like relevant staff for this too, so I'll try my best to finalize that for today.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any comments or questions from anyone else on this? Just before moving on. Okay. Then we'll move into the next thing on the agenda would be adjournment. I move to adjourn the meeting at 3:37 p.m. Do I have a seconder?
Marie.
Thank you. Any discussion? Do we all want to stay here and spend more time with each other since we don't always get to? Okay.